Hi guys, today we're going to be making a orzo pasta salad and grilled chicken. So you could call it orzo pasta and chicken salad. We're going to grill the chicken and we're going to make pasta, and that's your assessment. So I've got the camera just shooting this way for now, just to show you that this is what you have to do for your pot of water. Put it on the biggest element with a big pot. You will have to put a lid on it to be able to boil it fast. That's the first thing you should do when you walk in the room. So, but I've got about the pot filled with half the amount of water, because you're not going to be having that much pasta just for an individual serve. So I've got that boiling away nicely. I'll get back to that when I've heard it boil. So right, so the first thing, I've printed out your assessment. The first thing you need to do on this is to preheat the grill. So I've put it on, you all know how to put it on grill, and you all know that it should be on about 200 degrees. And for those of you who have forgotten to how to turn the oven on, remember it's the two left buttons, you hold it down and you're pressing the plus sign a couple of times. So you hold down the two left, go plus 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 a few times and it turns on. You do need to switch it on to grill, and you do need to have it on 200 or just over. Right, so the next thing to do is to grill the chicken for approximately 4 minutes. But because I've just turned it on, I actually need to preheat it, so I'll just wait for a moment. I have my chicken here ready to go. This is, I've purchased New Zealand chicken thighs, boneless and skinless. As you can see, it's not too thick. They're quite nice little thighs. There is a thicker side to the chicken, and I might just have a little think in terms of may having to bat that down a little bit. It depends on the chicken, but I can show you all how to do that when you get back to class. In terms of determining whether it's, because one side will cook faster than the other. Okay, so we need to keep that in mind, but we'll do that in a moment. It says here to cook your pasta in boiling salted water for 6 minutes. Now, I've had the pot on for about 5 minutes and it's starting to boil, so the bubbles are starting to appear. That's when I know I can put the pasta in and it's going to cook adequately. So in terms of 6 minutes, how are you going to know? Well, I can always time it on my oven. I know when it's ready because I get a good feeling. I've cooked this pasta all the time, this type of pasta. And it's called orzo or rizzoni. You could use the store-bought one, which this one here is called orzo, the packet. There's this one here that's called rizzoni. Now, there's not much difference. One's a little bit plumper, and one's a little bit longer, but the same thing. It doesn't take as long to cook as other pastas, like spiral pasta. So, yep, 100 grams it says of orzo pasta. I'll work out for you when you get back to class what that is in cups, because I know a lot of you will probably want to just get your cup and measure it that way. So I'll work that one out and get you to amend that on your recipe. So anyway, I'm going to put this in now. It's boiling, it's salted. You always must salt your water. Okay, brings up the flavour in the pasta. Right, now I'm going to give my pasta a stir. Alright, I'll just take it off the heat to show you. So what I'm going to do here is just, when you put your pasta in, always tries to stick to the bottom. So you get your wooden spoon and you try, just give it a good swirl around so it just starts to release and gets used to being in the water. It doesn't stick together. Alright, so I've done that, and I'll do that again in a couple of minutes just to make sure it hasn't stuck to the bottom. Okay, now you don't want to be putting the lid back on, you want it just to have a rapid boil, which it should come back up to the boil. Yep, and it is, great. Cook pasta, so for 6 minutes, so I'm going to just guess, but if you like you can always use the timer on your oven, and that way you can be reminded when it is time. It says also to drain it in a colander. Now this is a colander with holes in it. So I have that ready on my bench, ready to go in my sink, and so when it's ready I'll just pour it straight into there, because you know you want your pasta to be tender, al dente, you don't want it to be soft and mushy. So what we're going to do is put it in there. We're going to refresh it under cold water, and that'll stop the cooking process, which is a good thing. So that's waiting for me just there. So what can I do in between times? Well, next thing I could do is probably get all the ingredients ready for inside the pasta, since it's cooking nicely over there. My oven's actually also preheated, so I've got two choices: get my filling ready or have my chicken cooking, have my pasta cooking, and then just get the fillings ready by keeping an eye on both. So I'm going to do that. Right, here I've got a plate of oil. This is what they do in the industry a lot. They put in oil on a plate for like night service, and so before they go cook a steak, they might just have a plate, a steak plate, a chicken plate, a fish plate, and they'll put the chicken or the steak, or like usually I fillet, and they'll have it like salt peppered, so you're getting a good even coating of oil. Instead of having to use a brush, you just do that, and that's pretty cool. It's all doused nicely in olive oil, a little bit of salt, pepper. See, I've cracked my own pepper into that. Some of you might prefer ground pepper or not pepper at all, but remember, you're cooking for your customers, not yourself. So here I've just let it drain. I don't want to put too much oil on it, but I want it to be coated evenly. There you go. Awesome. So straight away I'm going to put those on the tray and in the oven. So 4 minutes each side, depending on the size of your chicken or fish. So my recipe says 4 minutes. I'm just going to keep an eye on it. It's a guide, okay? To remember that your baking paper may burn, so you've got to keep an eye on that it doesn't flutter around the oven. Something to tack it down would be quite a good idea. Maybe a little bit of oil underneath it, spray. Good idea. Right, so let's do that nicely. The pasta's happening. Next I'm going to cut up my salami. Okay, salami and chicken actually go quite well together. I also want to see all of you using your knife sharpening skills that you've all learned. Alright, so I've got the rag underneath my chopping board to prevent it from sliding, and I'm just going to cut an angle here, and I'm going to cut it into thin strips one way, and then I'm going to cut it back the other way. Remember, I'm using the tip of my knife and I'm heading back down to the blade, to the back of the knife. So tip to the back. Awesome. So here you have nice sort of little cubes of salami, which will go nicely in our pasta and give it good texture. Alright, so my chicken's sizzling away. I have yet to prepare my garlic and my cherry tomatoes. So you've got 5 cherry tomatoes each. You've got to think about, this is the way I'm going to do it, but I'd like to see if you can start to think about different presentation ideas in terms of how are you going to present this on the plate. And you can do it my way or think of something a little bit different. So I'm going to cut those in, it says half in the recipe, but I might even think of doing it in quarters because they're quite large. Nice sharp knife, nice cuts. My pasta's, I'm thinking, a couple of minutes away. Alright. So I'll put that to the side. I'm going to cut up my garlic, cut the ends off. So I've pushed down the garlic onto my board. I've pushed it down, squashed it, and then the skin comes off easy. Right there. So slice it up, just sort of rough chop it up, because what you need to do is use the back of your blade to mush it very much, to squash it up, turn it into a bit of a garlic paste. Okay, there's nothing worse. Oh, there goes my chicken. The paper's burning in there, so luckily I've sort of kept an eye on it. What we need to do is pretty much turn it over now, but what I might do is actually get rid of the paper, okay? I know that's happened to a lot of you during the practicals, and perhaps we might go with no paper at all, just to make sure that we don't burn that paper again. So what I might do is take it off, and we won't use paper, just to be safe. It just means that you have a little bit of extra cleaning to do. Alright, so I've turned that over. Okay, so grilling's really good in terms of having a healthy option. Okay, you don't have to fry it in a lot of oil in the fry pan. It's actually a fast way of cooking as well, and an even way of cooking, so the grill actually cooks it nice and evenly. Alright, so I've chopped my garlic up quite rough, and I'm going to use sort of the back of the knife to squash it down. Okay, you've got to be very careful when doing this that you don't cut yourself. So just applying a little bit of pressure and sliding it across the garlic. Now you may ask, can I use a garlic crusher? But that wouldn't show us your technique, so what I'd like you to do is just do this and learn how to do it. It's a little bit of time. Right, at this point I'm actually thinking, pasta. So, just take it off the heat to show you. I've just gone in and I've taken a little bit of my pasta out with my spoon, and I'm just going to put it on my board. Place it back on the heat, and what I'm going to do is just try a little bit. So to me that's tender, it's al dente. Al dente means firm to the bite, so also pasta definitely doesn't take long to cook. The middle's a little bit sort of firm, but the outside's nice and soft. That's how I determine firm to the bite. So I'll put that in the colander and I'll refresh it now. That colander now under running water. I'll just get it sitting there on the sink. It sort of just sits there nicely. I'll refresh it, and then I'll wait for it to cool down. And then once it's drained completely, I'll shake it a few times. I'll transfer it into a bowl. Great. So everything's happening all so fast. It all happens at once. Right, my chicken's sizzling away, which makes me think, is it ready? Now, how do you check chicken's ready? You check the thickest part of your meat, and if it pretty much is not pink or running, juices running out of it, then you're pretty safe to say it's cooked. So, I might just go get a knife and check that out.